Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is your girl, Wicked Raider 22. Wanted to actually come in and do a quick look, a basic synopsis and breakdown of one of the newest areas of the game. I would definitely love to hear from you guys on this one. Of course, I am pretty sure at least half of my followers at this point, you guys have made your way over to Sand Devil's Necropolis. And I don't know about you guys. I have been watching videos and kind of keeping up with how other players are kind of approaching this area. It is designed to be in-game content. So you can unlock this area at level 38. I know for a lot of us, it's pretty exciting to be able to add to some of our best pieces or artifacts or, just units of gear. And so you get into it, you start thinking about it, but there are a couple of things that I've noticed along the way. So this is what you guys are going to run into. Very similar to the Iron Twins dungeon. Level starts at 110 and it's going to progress up to, it's pretty intense actually, up to level 350. And yes, there are a lot of people who have definitely made it to these upper levels. But even the in-game content creators that I've been kind of listening to and following for some time, a lot of them have had to admit the average player is going to probably farm this area at a lower level. So honestly, level 17, 18, probably 17 through 20 will be a good spot. There's going to be another cutoff, of course, right at stage 10. For a lot of us guys, stage 5 and below is where you're going to find yourself more often than not. But before I run in and try this for the very first time on this particular account, I have done it on my pay-to-play account. I've been successful with stage 1 and stage 2, keeping in mind that that account is level 57 at this point. And I'll be honest, it was not an easy go of a battle. I've even gone back in to actually repeat my battle at stage 1 and have lost several times since. So here's the first thing I want you to notice. For stage 1, you are looking at getting or receiving a lesser oil. It's going to be used to ascend your artifacts to levels 1 and 2 of Ascension. And so most of us, when we logged in, right at the beginning of them opening up Sand Devil's Necropolis, you were gifted 300 of the lesser oils and also 80 of the greater oils. And I'm going to tell you now, I would use these carefully. If you notice, you can acquire, based on stage 1, 4 to 5 oils, lesser oils. Now, before we start here, let's go back and kind of take a look at an artifact on one of my champions. And I think you guys are going to notice this if you haven't noticed this already. You have the area to ascend, of course, your artifact. So when you come in, you click on the button here. Guys, to ascend this is 45 lesser oils. I want to just stop right there. I want you to think about that. Stage 1 will reward you 4 or 5 lesser oils. It takes 45 of those in order to ascend this piece of gear 1 star. If you want to ascend to level 4, take a look at what you need: 105 lesser oils or 75 of the other. That's a lot. That is a pretty big exchange. Now, to this artifact, I can add HP, attack, or defense. Of course, these bonuses are going to be at random. And where you're going to see the biggest change for this particular area of content will likely be in Arena, for example. This is where we're first going to learn to speed tune our different teams. So if you happen to be lucky enough, for example, let's say I want to roll for more attack and I luck up and get attack. I can take this unit that is currently sitting at 17%, and I have the ability to top that stat with a little bit more. So my biggest thing, the first thing I noticed was the exchange. I'm not happy with the currency there. I think it's a little high, I'll be honest. The other thing that I noticed, and we're going to go in, the number 1 skill, the absolute number 1 skill for this new dungeon is sleep. You want this champion to be put to sleep so that you're able to deal not only damage, but also have the opportunity to rebuild your team. You need a reviver. And this is where this particular account for me is going to struggle. On my pay to play, I use Dur the Hungerer. You guys who have been with me for a while, you guys know I have an extremely special place in my heart for that particular reviver. Now, there are a ton of champions out there that have the skill. But the other thing that you're trying to figure out is where can I find the perfect balance? I have to have a champion that is able to stay alive, first and foremost. Secondly, I have to have a champion with the ability to heal and shield my team. That's going to be a requirement. Another thing, you're coming in, you need a champion with the ability to sleep. Now, you do have uncommon and common champions that fall into that category. And one of those said champions is my guy right here. When you're going through and you're trying to find which of the champions contain what's needed, there are a lot of us that we haven't been using champions with sleep. Some of us have sleep gear, for example, which may also prove helpful. I can tell you now, one of the biggest issues that we're going to find using this particular champion, and I'm going to pull him because I don't think he has any artifacts. Hellhound is one of those. If you've managed to pull him from a mystery shard or grab one of him from the marketplace, he's definitely one that you want to lock in. And for the longest, guys, he had no reviews, wasn't really serving a purpose. Now, all of a sudden, Sand Devil's Necropolis, he's going to be rated pretty high. And it's because of the skill, which he only has one. This guy's going to attack one enemy. We really could care less. Places a sleep debuff on the target for one turn when hit with a critical hit. And he's going to be hit pretty often. His damage that he does is based on attack and defense. I'm not worried about his ability to cause damage, but I am very much so concerned with being able to keep him alive. So I'm going to go through and just kind of pull whatever artifacts I have that will better equip him to survive. And that's what we're going to be looking for. Now, as you can see, I recently done a cleanse in this particular account, and I don't have a large assortment of gear. The other thing is a lot of us will have a shortage when it comes to silver, because this is gear that we're trying to put on our most qualified champion, but we're also trying to fully ascend the gear as well. Now, my set of days on this account, I only have these two pieces. So it will give me a little crit rate, a little speed, which speed would be nice. And honestly, for him, I would either at this point, if I had a full set of days, I may actually take the chance and put him in it. I would also kind of think about a reflex set, but not really for him since we're not throwing out very much damage. It would be nice perhaps to get him in immortal gear, which is kind of what I'm thinking about, maybe an angle for me. It would allow him to stay alive. Divine offense is going to be another one. It would allow me to keep him alive. Not so much focusing on the added 15% for attack, but that added 15% HP self-shield for 3 turns is one that could certainly be helpful. Another one, a lot of you guys are so used to focusing toward crit rate. And remember, every champion has a purpose. So I think early game, you are more so coming into how can I build out this particular champion for him to give me the most, especially when relating it back to the ability to sleep. Now, I love my perception gear. Accuracy and speed are always helpful, but we're going to go in and find the defensive set first. So I want to hit him with the ability to live. Always the ability to live. So let's check out my probably least favorite gear on this circuit. We're going to go all the way back up to an average set that all of us have. And that's going to be something from the defense set. Now, it would be nice to have both a flat stat and a percentage on the gear that I plan on using for him. I love to see speed as well, for this particular champion. The increase with a little boost in HP is a nice and added bonus. But honestly, where we are right now, none of these guys are going to give me both of the stat sets that I'm looking for. Another set that I tend to go to for any champion that may prove hard to keep alive is going to be Lifesteal. Now, he does heal by 30% of the damage dealt. The problem is this guy is not going to be kicking out maximum damage. So it may not prove as helpful as we would like. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to take it down first. I'm not worried about him with the extra turn, but I do have a few pieces that are probably a little bit better put together in order for us to work with this particular champion. So flat stat pieces. Normally when you see something like this, guys, this piece will be sold. It is 5-star gear. Not all 5-star gear is going to be great. And unfortunately, a lot of these pieces in particular are going to be flat stat pieces. Now here, they give me defense of 25 plus the defense on the 5%. I don't mind that at all because honestly, the other sets that I'm kind of looking at, that's not going to be available for me. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this piece. I haven't kept a large amount of silver. I have, especially since CBC, I haven't run my multi-battles so much with the interest of hoarding or collecting, silver. It's been more so about the progression in the area where I'm located. Now, crit rate 3%, attack is 6%. So neither one of these are pretty important, but I do want to fully use the sets. And I'm going to also come down and kind of look at what I have in other areas. So before I select this piece, because I don't want to mess up and pick here or here and then have to pay to remove it, let's see what looks a little bit better. This will give me a little bit more speed. Remember, speed is going to allow him to jump in front of some of his allies on the team and perhaps get that additional opportunity involved as well. Now, defense is at 22, speed is 5. So any of these pieces will give me pretty much a little boost in speed, but it also has that additional 15% HP self-shield that I'm actually going for. So decisions. My question to you guys so far, what have you chosen to focus on for those of us involved that have already kind of started in this dungeon? Or do you think perhaps that you would prefer to kind of wait and move forward in the dungeon after you've reached a particular point? Because that's going to be another one. And I think here, it's my only other one with defense on it. I'm probably just going to settle for you, upgrade you really quickly. The other thing I'm wondering is early game, is it better? I understand that this particular dungeon is available at level 38, but I'll be honest, even at level 48, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be as prepared and as equipped as I would like to be for this particular dungeon. So if we come in here, those two pieces probably would have been kind of nice. Yeah, I know it. It's always the shield. The shield is going to be giving you what you want no matter what. So for a couple of these pieces, I'll have to go through. Swipari, if I could ever go in and actually get a full set, I would be so excited. But that is one that I've been pulling. And even when I am working inside of the forge, I just never pull the pieces with the stats that I really, really want. And so that's been a limitation for me as well. HP percent might be pretty nice, gives you a little attack and crit damage. Not the top on my list. You guys know I usually don't break up sets very often. Sometimes I'm forced to. I kind of like this 33% only because it can certainly keep him alive a little bit longer, but that would be the only thing I could pull from that particular set. And we don't need a chest. So from here, we might as well do a little filtering to narrow down our options. Here's something else that may come to mind for you guys as well. As you're working through and you're starting to figure out the perfect niche for your different champions, the question then becomes, where or how do you plan on how does going into a situation, I guess I'm trying to find the words. If I'm looking at a particular boss and I know that I want to outfit my champion at a point where I'm not having to remove and upgrade tons of gear at a time, how do you guys go about making those decisions from the jump? Like, how are you filtering through your gear? And think about this on the opposite side of things as well. The other question that's going to come up quite a bit for you at the end of the day, how do you pick which artifact in particular to use your oils on? Now, I've heard this approached in so many different ways. I definitely want to get the speed involved would be nice. And usually, guys, not having speed on boots just irks my spirit. But I'll be honest, it's really difficult for me to pull with speed on boots. I don't know why. Here's one set. So I may go with I don't need the other stats. He doesn't necessarily have to be the quickest of the quick, but I would like a little bit of defense on there. I could get a little bit there, so we'll just equip. We'll go in and just make it happen. When I am approaching a brand new dungeon, like everybody else, it's almost like sending a kid to kindergarten. Like, so nervous, so wondering exactly how is this going to turn out. And if I have to go back and regroup, which will often happen, not successful on the first time out. So it's kind of like a now what situation. And when it comes down to something like that, we'll go for, we'll see if any of these have this involve. I kind of want that 5%, but I may go for the speed boot instead. The defensive ones, the defense at 8% though may be pretty helpful. So we may have to give in on percentage and not go for speed and just kind of see how it turns out. The shield set is another one that also gives some really good stats on a regular basis. Just depending on overall what you're looking for as well. And this provoke set is another one. So we're going to just pick a pair that I don't think I'm going to need. And this will be a champion. Guys, he's only 3 stars. So we're putting all this nice little gear on a 3-star champion. I am pretty sure that this guy is going to go down a couple of times, but Hellhound is actually going to be one of the first ones that we place on this particular team. The other thing is I'm kind of stuck working with what I have. We're going to need some support. So hands down, with this account, Reliquary Tender is one. I almost thought about Miscreated Monster, but I'm not sure I would end up getting the support that I need out of that particular champion. And the other thing is I wouldn't mind seeing how Ultimate Death Knight would do in this situation. So we'll toss him in. So this team is going in at 63K. I can probably say right off, hands down, this team is not going to make it. But let's run through and just kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect. Now, I will tell you, like a lot of people are struggling in, we kind of froze a second. The amount of damage he throws out there can be a big one. It's nice to put him to sleep. It gives you a chance to rebuild your team, especially if you have more than one healer or support champion on your particular team. But you're also going to notice that there are moments where he does not stay asleep for very long. If you have a champion, for example, that's going to be able to come in and not only revive, because I need this little guy up, someone's going to pick my Hellhound up. Oh, we've been having the slowest. It's been kind of slow since the last update. I get these freezes, but most of the freezes, amazingly, are only in this particular dungeon. I've noticed that as well. So he will remain asleep longer. I've seen a few teams, they will run 2 champions with sleep ability, or they may go ahead and go in and place the gear on the champion as well. All right, Hellhound is back up. Before he goes back down, it would be nice if he could throw out Rest for the Wicked. We got nothing on that one. So the other thing is, as long as he is awake, the amount of damage that he's going to be putting out is huge. And think about it, we're running this with champions that have the ability to shield themselves and also with the support that Ultimate Death Knight can provide for your team as well. I want to say the first time I ran, it took me about 5.5 minutes to get through stage one. Stage two probably took about 7.5 minutes or so, but that is as far as I have been able to go. And this is with a basic reviver on the team. Now, what I would like if I had, for example, Dur the Hungerer, Rosgard, the Tower is another one that throws a really good supportive shield. I have tossed in Madame Ceres is another one. And then of course I had Hellhound on the team, and I want to say one more just random champion, kind of going through and trying to get a feel for who would be the best fits. I think after you get that first team that's able to make it through stages 1 and 2, it's not nearly as bad. But as you can see, the amount of damage they're able to put out compared to the amount of damage they're taking, and neither of the champions that are still alive are able to revive. Won't do me very much. So I'm going to let this one go ahead and play on out because we probably won't be here very much longer. But as they're wrapping up, guys, share in the comments, how do you plan on attacking this particular dungeon? How do you feel about it overall? Do you think that starting at level 38 would be a wise choice, or are you going to choose to wait a little bit longer? How do you feel about the rewards? Because the rewards based on the resources used is always a level of exchange that I keep in the back of my mind. And so as he kind of wears down your defenses and wears down your champions, there won't be a lot of opportunities to kind of move forward. And you guys can see, we haven't even gotten this boss halfway. His abilities, of course, are crazy. Needing a little crowd control in this one. If you are lower level, maybe if you're able to run a maxed out Diabolus, it could help a little bit. Some champion that has a little turn meter manipulation would probably be a good addition to this team. And I'll keep going in and running a variety of champions until I figure out what's going to work. And then I'll update this video as well. If you put together a pretty basic team and don't mind sharing your composition, we would love to hear what you have done or what you plan on doing and the effects that you've seen from it. But guys, as always, it is great to talk to you. If you have not joined a clan, we definitely have slots available. Just type in 22WK. We have 9 slots available, I do believe. We would love to have you guys join in. There is one more Clan v Clan coming up next week, I do think. Yeah, next week. And so give us that chance to get things done actually right before we finish out 2022. I will be starting a brand new free-to-play account on January 1st, 2023 to kind of bring and ring in the new year. So it'll definitely be exciting with all of the new content to kind of get a feel for how would it feel to enter the game if this was our first opportunity. Every account you create, of course, you're going to have that little expertise that gives you a one-up, but we will keep that account throughout the entire 2023 and then kind of see how we've gotten, how far we've gotten so far. As always, it's nice to talk to you, and happy gaming, guys.